Hello, welcome to another episode of Somewhere Between a Film and TV podcast. We are your hosts. I am Daniel Parra.
And I'm Erwin Trejo.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. As always, if you're still on Spotify or Apple or whatever, we are on YouTube at Somewhere Between Pod. And Erwin, we're reviewing another TV show.
Let's go. Actually, I'm not excited.
You're not excited. Get this out of the way now.
I'm very mid.
Yeah, you're...
No, the show.
Describe yourself.
I know, I was like, wait, now I'm above mid.
Yeah, work on your self-confidence, man.
Thanks, man.
Don't hate yourself.
I didn't say I hate myself. What are you trying to imply?
Don't call yourself garbage.
Dude, you're not the worst person in the room, okay? You're fine.
Yeah. The worst
There's
person
only
in the room,
two of
so
us.
behind there. Yeah. Oh, so am I the worst person in the... Who's the third person?
Okay. Let's just go.
Everything we review has full spoilers, and what we like to do here is we review movies and TV. I can't give our movie thing because I'm not going to walk out of a theater after having seen a TV show. But
when was the last time they released like episodes? Didn't they do that with Game of Thrones, right?
In theaters?
Yeah, they released like a certain like episode.
They're
or something
about to with that new Batman thing, the Capes Crusader, like the Prime Video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they're showing it for free at Alamo Draft House. That's like the only thing I'm aware of.
Yeah.
That, and sometimes they show the first couple like pilot episodes or something.
Okay.
And then they'll make it like either the first 3 or 4, so you're in there for 2 hours still.
Yeah.
So it's the equivalent of that. But I think that was season 7 of Game of Thrones when they did that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, what's that one from the last season of Game of Thrones where they should have, but you can't see anything, so what's the point?
Oh.
You know which episode
with not the Night Watch.
The King, the Night King
the Night
stuff.
King?
Yeah, I don't remember if that's the name of the episode. But we occasionally like to get off topic, and then we'll circle back around. We are reviewing Star Wars The Acolyte. I do want to clarify, please, even if you dislike what we have to say, or if you dislike the show, be nice about it in the comments. But to the benefit of people that both like this show and don't like this show, we are somewhere between. Are we not?
Sorry, don't read your notes, and I was like, damn, I kind of agree. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. I said the same thing.
Erwin?
Yes.
In terms of The Acolyte, what's it about?
According to IMDb, not me.
Yeah.
An investigation into a shocking crime spree pits a respected Jedi Master against a dangerous warrior from his past. As more clues emerge, they travel down a dark path where sinister forces reveal all is not what it seems.
Okay.
Everything is not what it seems when you can have what you want by the simplest of means. You know who sings that?
Yes.
Well, can you say no so that way I can tell you?
No, who is it?
My girl.
Who's your girl?
Selena Gomez.
All right. Why are you like? You look like you're like about to murder a person. I think that summary makes no sense.
Let's read the synopsis instead.
No, okay. I hate when people. So before we fully get into our thoughts on the show, we have so many notes because we took notes this time.
Yeah.
I hate review bombing. I hate when people do that. Like, even if you don't like the show, at least give it like an honest rating after you've seen it. I'm sorry, but a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score, and then people cite this shit, the one like on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it, where they're like,
whoa.
Well,
why is Daniel mad?
But they'll be like, hey, so did you notice that the audience score for this is really bad? Disney, you should do better. Even though
what was the
it was on like
critics
episode 2, 80%, which I don't really agree with.
I don't agree
either.
That either. Wow, that's so high.
Okay, so if we took all the good parts of the show, which is like, I guess maybe I would say half of it I really liked.
Yeah, I would say half.
And then parts of it I felt mixed on, and then there was like 1.5 episodes I flat out did not like at all.
Yeah.
So this I thought was all over the place, and I'm like currently rambling and being all over the place because it's like this is how this made me feel.
Yeah.
And I told you.
Tell us how you feel.
You finished this before I did.
I did. Yes.
And you were like not really giving me your opinion.
Yeah. And I was just like, you'll know.
And I told you I stayed up all night to watch this to make sure we could review this because I'm admittedly the reason we're late on it. And it was hard to stay up because it hit like a low point. But before we get into all of that, I want to ask you, overall, what did you think of the show?
I thought, overall, I think the show is okay. I don't think it's like worst of the worst, as most people would say. I don't think it's like one of the worst. I don't know.
It's not the worst Star Wars show.
I don't even think it's like even the worst Star Wars like project, you know, out there. Because at the end, like, there's some things in here that I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. I really hope they expand on that or showcase more of it.
And they don't.
And they don't. And I'm like, I don't know. But overall, I thought it was okay.
Yeah. The first 2 episodes, I was so on board. I thought that it got started, and I was legitimately enjoying it.
Yes, me too.
And I'm not one of those people that criticizes the whole fire and space thing. Don't come to us for that, because this is a sci-fi show, and that's bullshit, and that's such a dumb complaint. I just went to like a Star Wars prequel marathon a couple weeks ago, and Jar Jar Binks, like, what does he do? He tases himself, and then he like flops everywhere. I'm sorry, but a franchise that like
well, with that creature, it makes it possible because of like electricity affecting his nervous system.
But it affects all their nervous systems, and then he goes, uh-oh.
Well, it's based on the creature.
What kind of... Oh, he's a Gungan?
What'd you say to me?
In Phantom Menace, you want to know why he's banned from his hometown?
Why?
It's because he stole that guy's car and then crashed it.
Damn, that's it?
That's really... I caught on to that this time. I was like, what? But I agree with you. In the sense
it's
of
been so long since I've seen Phantom Menace. Yeah. Wow.
This has more ties to Phantom Menace than I think you might know.
Okay.
Because the whole plot point about the virgins thing, I'll get into.
Oh, okay.
And because that's straight up a plot point in Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. And they also bring back midichlorians in this. I think I wrote that down. But it said MD count, and it reminded me of like, it looked exactly like the scanner from Dragon Ball Z. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if that they were trying to reference that, but it just reminded me of that. Even if so, I mean, I don't think that's that important. And I'm not too big on the midichlorian plot, so I'm kind of surprised they brought it back, because I thought they were trying to separate from that.
Yeah, I know. At the end, like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, like, just someone being genuinely, like, good and, like, being chosen in that sense.
I will say I do want to engage with our audience for a second here. I want to know, like, I heard that a lot of this is pulled from Legends, but not in a way that you enjoy. I want to know how and why, because...
Down below. Comment below.
Yeah. But don't get mad at us for not knowing. I know
you
about...
can, and I don't really care.
I know about Plagueis. He's in it for 2 seconds.
I barely know.
He's like a cave dweller in this.
He's so me.
Yeah. Or he's like, oh yeah, look at those dudes.
My other apprentice.
He's gooning.
With his apprentice. Gooning. I hate that word. When you talk.
He's a goon cave. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Gungan. That's so stuck on that.
No, with this, I want to ask you, like, what your thoughts are on the characters of this.
Well,
because
I'd say there's a few main characters, right?
Yeah.
We got Soul. We got Osha and May.
Right.
The Sith guy that's Master. I don't remember his name or how to pronounce it.
I'm gonna botch this. Kamir, the stranger.
The stranger.
Is his name.
Yes.
Manny Jacinto, who's I'm getting ahead of myself. The best part of this. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then his former master, Vernestra.
Are you talking? You're not talking about Carrie Ann Moss. That's Indara.
That's Indara.
Yeah.
See, and like Indara was barely in the show, and I just don't think her impact was there. But it's just the fact that it was mostly in those flashback scenes.
Yeah.
That she was shown, and the flashback itself is on a whole other thing, where I'm just like, it just wasn't as strong, and it was so weak.
The flashbacks we'll get to, because there's so many positives and negatives in this show.
Yes.
I will say the positives are strong enough that I think I might have more negatives than I do positives, but I still think that the great stuff is great.
Yes.
And that's the weird feeling I came out of with this show. I felt like I got, like, not tonal whiplash, but quality whiplash.
Yeah.
Because there would be moments where I'm like, this is great. And then within the same episode, within like 2 minutes, I'd be like, this needs to move on and do something else.
Yeah.
But did you care for anyone in this, or was it hard
Mostly
for
just
you
the stranger and Master Soul. Those two are the only ones where I really. And then I liked Carrie Ann Moss. So in what is her name?
Her name was Master Indara.
Indara.
Yeah.
I like her just because I guess she kind of like helped and pushed Master Soul as well.
Yeah.
Into making his decisions that he made in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked her as well. But overall, like those are the only like 3 characters.
Yeah.
That I really enjoyed.
I came away with this with liking.
You came?
I sure did everywhere.
All right, I did my best.
during episode 5 when I was like, oh, finally.
A fight scene.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not someone that's like, I need a fight scene right now. But then I kept hearing that Leslie Headland, who's very passionate about this show, and I will say something I did appreciate it about this, the reason why I think it's better than something like Boba Fett, is because this at least feels like it's trying for something, and I will always respect that above just going for something that like feels like it's going through emotion.
Yes.
And the way that this feels like it's going through emotion is the way in which they tell the story. But that, I think, has a bigger issue to do with Disney and Disney Plus streaming service itself, which I want to get into later.
Okay.
Because I've seen enough of their content to be like, I think they're following a blueprint that it's getting on my nerves. But with this, I think I liked the idea of Osha and May.
I like the idea, yes.
Yeah. The whole... I know what the show's about. The Acolyte's supposed to be the inversion of good and bad. The thing, we've even reviewed the Star Wars movies before. It's what I thought Rise of Skywalker was going to be. I thought that Rey and Kylo would end up on the opposite ends.
Dude, that would have been such... why'd you bring that up? That would have been so good.
Because they're doing the same...
It made sense.
They're doing the same plot point here. And the visual where the... I heard that it's called bleeding. Like the Kyber crystal where the idea that your soul is what the lightsaber color interprets you as, so it like it
that's
the way
a
it was
great idea.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
And I know that like everything we compliment people are gonna be like, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. I liked it. The visual was cool.
Yes.
Like the...
But seeing the lightsaber change just because of her anger.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
No, the visual itself was awesome up until I was like, I don't know anything about you still, but
yeah, I'm like, I'm still like, I guess I'm as confused as the character.
Yeah.
Because it feels like she doesn't even know why she is joining the dark side.
No, and because the whole thing feels so last second.
Yes.
The idea of this, like,
because even when she joined too, where she was like, I want to be a Jedi. That was so last second. And it was just like, okay, like I can see the struggle of her having where it's like, I don't know if I want to be a witch. Yeah. Right? And while May is like, yes, I want to. And so, of course, when the Jedi arrive during that flashback scene, and then she's like, well, I want to just join the Jedi. But, like, why?
Yeah. No, I mean, there was no real reason even for it. I thought in the context of episode 3, which is the one I'm going to clarify, I thought it was flat out bad. I didn't like it.
That's the one with the whole witch. Like, yeah. I agree.
And you would think that describing the, like, cult of witches that can manipulate the Force, the Night Sisters, which are in... I've seen enough of Clone Wars to have at least seen, like, that stuff. Yeah. That it would be more interesting than it is. There's a way to do that. But I also flat out didn't like... I have her name written down, but not the one that looks like Darth Maul's species.
Oh, I don't know. You ever write?
I have it written down. Her name is Coral.
Oh, the one where it's like the mom, like she was also like that was her kids.
The other
too.
mom,
yeah,
the one, yeah. I did not like that character. I mean,
she was barely in it. Like she was like, I don't know.
She was in enough of it to get on my nerves.
Really? I don't know.
Yes.
I think my main thing about this show is just the fact that it seems so like the scenes that they were just showcasing throughout this whole show. It just wasn't impactful, but the show itself is so short. Yeah,
which is we are a huge, like, we fully believe that a story can be told in 8 to 10 episodes. Yes. And I'd heard the whole CW feeling Star Wars show, like, thrown at it as not a compliment. But in my head, I kept thinking, this show needs, like, a 22 episode season to not just blast through these plot points. Yeah. The whole idea that team dies halfway through is a great idea. Yes. There's a lot of great ideas here. Yes. But then a lot of the execution, you and I complain about potential. Yes. A lot. And I just kept seeing potential just, like, squashed over and over within the context of the show, and it was like kind
Sorry, I like the way you said squash.
Thank you, but it was getting
it was getting carrots out there.
No, it was getting aggravating, and I don't know how you feel about Osha and May specifically. If you want to tell me, like, what made you not care about how?
I did not care about Osha and May when they were kids.
Yeah,
because I think their direction was very clear. Yes.
Yeah.
Of what they wanted to do. But I think just emotionally, it wasn't there.
Sorry. I don't want to rag on, like, child actors, but no.
It just wasn't the best.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, that's fine. But then it's also just, like, their story behind it, too, where, like, their importance.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it was only talked about for, like, a minute.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like, well, you have to choose between us or them.
Because there's no, like, actual time for them to really process anything. It's, one scene, I didn't think that this was supposed to be funny, and, like, it just came off so weird, was the scene, you know how they're on the bridge and Soul saves one of them, and then it turns out that, like, information was left out?
Yes.
I like that storytelling mechanic. Again, it's not executed that well, but I liked the idea that episode 7 was supposed to be a mirror of the events of episode 3, like the actual story itself between Osha and May.
Yeah.
Because I get what they're doing. It's just that when it actually happens, you're like, damn it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because the scene where she walks out, she's like, Mom's dead. And I was like, when?
Oh, yeah.
How?
It's like, what?
And then I liked that they actually showed it later, but we're supposed to care. And
I like the adults. Whenever they're adults,
in
the beginning of the show, I liked Osha because I can see the struggle behind it, and of course just the actress herself she's really good. Yeah. And so I actually got to see that part. But with May,
it was the same actress. So I mean, good performance.
Good performances, but it's just May herself, just the way I guess they handled her character a lot. It was just we left with so much mystery. Yeah. And it was just so. I don't know, it was just left with so much to where it's just like, I don't know whether or not to care about her or not. I just know that for a fact that she's just following orders.
No, there's a line with Manny Jacinto towards the end where he tells Osha, he's like, your sister took that deal right away. I'm like, cool. Can you, like, show this?
Yes.
Can you, like, explain to me why?
Yes.
Because I don't understand. Because I have always thought that the Sith are more interesting
and then I'm wondering, too. Sorry for interrupting. But, I do it all the time. But it's just... Because, like, how did Meg just jump from, like, her surviving, right? The whole...
Right, yeah.
Like, somehow, the fire and all that, right? Well, not somehow, but, like, they showed us how casually. It's like, well, this is how I survived under... And I'm like, whoa, what?
But how did that fire even start?
I don't... how did the fire start?
Oh,
no, the fire started because of May.
No, but the thing, like, exploded. The place exploded.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. But how did May just get to the point where her master was, like, a Sith? That's where I'm like, what? Like, how did that happen?
There's some actually genuinely interesting mystery here.
Yes.
I even asked you, is this supposed to be a murder mystery? And if it was, I think that I got the wrong idea here, because whenever I heard that people kept saying, like, because, I mean, Twitter or X has a bad habit of, like, we have timelines that just spoil everything for us.
Oh, yes.
So I'd seen some stuff that I didn't really had wanted to. Maybe I would have been maybe it would have been a bit easier if I would have gotten to see these things first, but then I felt like I was shown all the good things in advance. Yeah. It's not like I would actually click on the lightsaber fights, but people make gifs pretty fast. And I was like, that looks cool as hell, and it is the best episode of the series, but...
Oh, anytime with, like, the lightsaber scenes happen, you're like, wow, this is great stuff.
Full credit to Leslie Headland. She said she wanted to outdo the Phantom Menace duel.
I can see it.
And I thought that episode 5-1 was great. I thought the one in episode 8 was also really good. It was just short. Yeah. But
I think those 2 episodes are the shortest ones.
Yeah. And then because they're just full on fights the whole time. Yeah. And it's not like we go to it for that, but I did miss that prequel era choreography, and I got it, and I thought it was really good. I love a lot of the stuff they do visually with the lightsabers, where they, like, cut them in half in this one, and I thought that was some really creative stuff that they did. And the whole idea that the Sith don't train the same way the Jedi do, because they're like, why would I like use the Force the same way that they do?
Yeah.
I like that stuff. I like the whole idea.
I like the fact that with the Sith, it's not just like I'm evil and that's it.
Yeah.
Because they showcase a lot of that in movies.
Right.
Right. And with this one, with Manny Jacinto,
Yeah.
and how he handled his character, it was very emotion and like just raw emotion.
Yeah.
Throughout his whole character, it just made you care at some points. Where like, damn, like, he really like he genuinely believes in like the path that he's on.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm just like, well, I wanted to feel that too with either May or Osha.
And
I didn't get that.
Yeah. Well, with Osha, by the end of it, I thought I'd like to see where this story goes. I would like to know where the training with Plagueis and Manny Jacinto's The Stranger.
Yes.
And I'd like to see all of that. The major plot convenience of May getting the memory wipe thing, I thought was
so
strange.
Yes.
And Doctor Strange, yeah. But I was like, have they ever done this before? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to talk about too where it's just, you know how I feel like every franchise has this, right? Like prequel, the originals, and the sequels. It's always about like the flaws of the Jedi.
Right, because
they always constantly talk about it.
Yeah,
and and it's brought up again now with just like the group of them, and then basically like hiding information to protect themselves, and just for Master Soul to have an apprentice. Because I think at the end of this story, it's all about a master and apprentice, right?
Yeah.
Well, what two masters just wanting an apprentice. It's
that whole rule of two thing that I know that's been in Star Wars forever. And
well, explain.
Well, it's supposed to be this idea. I'm gonna get this wrong, by the way. So if whoever wants to correct me, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go.
But the rule of two is supposed to be that that's the thing they keep repeating, where there can always be
only one master and one apprentice.
I think it's that, or it's supposed to be only two Sith at a time. Because when I saw the prequels again recently, they were like, "There's always two. Where's the other one?" It was in Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Whenever they kill Darth Maul, they're like, "Where's the other one?" And then it pans to Palpatine, and you're like, "Am I supposed to not know that?"
Yeah. I remember in Clone Wars too, whenever like Darth Maul comes back. Yeah. And he's like, "Master, I was doing this all for you." And it's like, "I'm not your master. I already have an apprentice." Yeah. And it's like, it can only be two. And it's like, what? I really want to finish Clone Wars, but me too. I need to finish that's off-handed. But you were talking about what you want to see. What is it that you want to see from the Jedi? That I guess I just want to know. Like, they keep going back to this, which is very like at the end, like it's very interesting. Yeah. But I just think, at least in this show, they didn't do a great job because I think they just hone in on just Soul a lot and just like what he did and not what the others were doing so much. Soul's inner conflict made me wish that he like could have been a more. I know he's in it a lot, but I wish he could have been a more central character. Yes. Because I was like, can I get a flashback? Can I get what you're actually thinking? I think this actor's great, by the way. He's like he said that he wanted to be in Star Wars really bad. I believe I read that he even learned English just to get this role initially. That's true. I thought Squid Game was amazing, and I think he's great in this. I actually really did care about him by the end of this, and I think the way that they portray the Jedi through the prequels... I thought it was kind of funny, though, whenever he died. I'm not going to lie. The way in which he dies? Yeah, because it just felt very... I don't know, like... It didn't... I guess it wasn't as impactful as I wanted it to be. Yeah. Like, yes, I wanted... Like, him dying by Osha, the apprentice that he wanted. I like that because it's the whole George Lucas, it rhymes. Yes, I do like that, but I just think the way it was showcased, it wasn't handled well. Yeah. That's where I'm like, dang. Just because it felt like so done. If this show just had the build up that for like you could literally have all of the same plot points we're talking about. It's just the way in which this is written. Yeah. Because she does kill someone without a weapon, and that's a really clever way of coming up with the whole force choking thing. That's great. But because she keeps like saying I'm going to do things my way, which is fine. And the whole introduction to Manny Jacinto in the first place, I mean, I had known it was him in advance, but I told you, like, if I thought this was supposed to be some kind of mystery, I would be like, it's him. There's no one else here that it could be. It's like you're showing the like everybody else like the same way over and over again.
Because I like the prequel era. I like the look of it a lot. I love Coruscant. I love that palace, the Jedi temple, all that stuff. I really like how all of that looks. And now that we have even better technology,
I think if they just focused on like just one plot point throughout this whole show, it would have been a lot better too and consistent. Because like just bringing up like just with Master Soul and like his battles with like what he did in the past, and then you also have Manny Jacinto just finding himself, and like him like realizing like I want something more than just what happened to me in the past, and I want an apprentice too. But then it was also now like Vernestra.
Oh yeah.
Like now covering up everything.
That ending I found super hypocritical, which I guess is supposed to be the point of like what they're doing in the first place.
Yes.
But I didn't like that character choice.
Yes.
Because I was just like, why are you going to blame everything? It was like, oh, my dear friends or whatever. I didn't get it. I was just so confused by everyone's reasonings to do anything in this show.
Yeah, and it made me care more about the Sith than I did about the Jedi. Which I mean, if that was the point, then great.
Yeah.
But overall, like I wish it was just more of like it was like a better transition to it.
No, if the whole point was supposed to be like, oh, the Jedi are pretentious, like hypocrites, then that makes sense, because that's exactly what my takeaway was from this.
Well, that was brought up like a lot of times, like in like the originals and like the prequels. And
there's even a line from Yoda himself where he was like, the Jedi are incredibly arrogant, and it will be their downfall, and it was.
Yeah.
But then even himself, there's a line that I think Palpatine has, and I know he's the villain, but he's like, your arrogance is what blinds you.
Yeah.
And I wish that they would just figure this stuff out, because it's all there.
Yeah.
It's just so aggravating.
One note that I said that either this show was longer, or if it was just a movie.
So did you feel like this was originally a movie?
I felt that just because of so much like either like so many scenes that felt just like filler.
Yeah.
And just to like move characters along to like certain like points in the story. Because like obviously like if you cut out certain characters that don't need, like there's certain Jedi that showed up, right? Like during the present. That like Yord. Do you remember Yord?
I remember Yord because I was going to bring him up because that felt like such a weird, wasted potential character.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, if it was a movie, it would have just been another character.
Yeah.
Right? And like so many of like the other Jedi that were also like presented in like episode 5.
Yeah.
That were fighting the stranger.
And everything. Yeah.
And so like I can see that in a movie sense where it's like they're all just there as like just being used like, oh wow, like the Sith killed all this Jedi. To show how like this like powerful he is too. But overall, like I just think that they could have just honed in more on just like the twins.
So I fully agree with all of that. I wish that they would have, I don't know, either met sooner or like Osha and May.
Yeah.
Or just had more of a connection, because the whole story point of not seeing each other until they're adults. And I liked Soul's whole thing where he kept it covered up initially in the first place. I think that's a really strong idea yet again.
I did like the line where he's like what kind of master hides his face from his pupil?
Oh yeah.
And then he goes like, what about you?
Because he's like, because you did, metaphorically.
Nice.
They're like, nice, great job, show.
Hey, that was good.
You're like, that's one of your good ones. Because then the whole idea, so I want to go back to the flashback thing and how that was not good.
But I'm tired of it.
No, but so episode 3 and 7.
Yes.
I think that it's supposed to be so what do they call it? Virgins? Like
virgins?
But the whole inversion of that, where Osha and May are set up to be the opposites of each other, even though I don't get enough characterization from either of these people to even fully comprehend that.
Because even at the end, I'm like, I don't believe May fully transitioned to like, I want to be good. Because at the end, like it seemed like
fast.
It was so fast, and the same thing with Osha. Because the only time it felt like she kind of did, besides just her lights, like the lightsaber changing, like you talked about, but whenever she put on the helmet.
Oh yeah.
Because what did he say? The stranger. Like Manny saying like when you put on the helmet,
he said that
it helps you, right?
Everything is cut off in your senses. It's just you and the Force.
Yeah. And so I guess that really showcased like what she truly is.
I do want to say I love helmets. Cool helmet design.
That
I
is
thought
a
it was
cool helmet,
like that's one of those like I would like to see that at Star Wars Comic Con stuff.
Yeah.
I like that costume quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I mean, it's supposed to be about like being in tune with the Force also, and this idea of them just not fully. I don't know. I just don't. I didn't think that whatever they were going for was fully explored because there wasn't even. I couldn't separate May and Osha apart in how they acted at all.
Yeah.
Because even when we're introduced to May in that initial fight where she kills Carrie and Moss, cool fight, but
Yeah, the fights in the show were great.
yeah,
I'll say that. Like that was the one thing I was like very appealing because even most movies like it wasn't
this
anything
is
like that.
no, this is such a slight. But if you looked up the Acolyte fight scenes on YouTube, I mean that's maybe your ideal experience here.
Yeah.
Because you'll be like, that's cool, and then it'll probably be I don't know half an hour long. But
Yeah.
whenever people say, oh, just look up the scenes that are cool on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, which is not a compliment, I know that, but
Cool movie fight scenes.
because I also think that the reason why those fight scenes are so cool in the first
Mm-hmm.
place are within context of story, because you can get a cool fight scene and be like, that didn't do anything though.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know that, like, for example, the prequels, the Darth Maul thing, incredible fight, incredibly well choreographed. You don't give a fuck about Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon.
Yeah, because you're just like, who was that?
Yeah,
like
that's true. That
really,
makes sense.
honestly. I will say though, the music, I noticed this in episode 8 in particular, was awesome. And
The last episode?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that because I was like, anything else I don't remember whatsoever.
and there was a noise within one of the fight scenes where a lightsaber screeched, and I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought that was a really great
Yeah.
like sound
Wow, we're still
detail.
talking about the fights.
Yeah, because they're
I guess that was the good thing about
they're
it.
really well done.
Master Soul, great. The Stranger, Chimera, great.
I liked Osha enough.
Osha.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the idea. Okay, I'm sorry. I love this whole idea where it's like the good and evil like meeting. Like it seems like there's like interest more so than just like master and apprentice type of thing.
Yeah.
And so like at the end, like when they're holding hands,
Yeah.
I don't know why. I kind of like that.
I don't know if they were aiming for a romance angle
Yeah.
with that or not, though. But I mean, I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
kind of wish that. I will say this much: I think that this show should get a season 2 with the disclaimer that it needs to be a lot better.
Oh yeah.
And like, you know, sometimes people say like, "Oh, just skip season 1," which I would never do.
I
but
would never. I can't do that.
Because I'd be like, "Who are all these?"
These people.
Yeah.
But
And-
I can see it happening where it's like Osha and May are still there,
Yeah.
and then it just sounds like with May, she would just be like, "Let me like get my memory back." That's that's the plot point right there already.
Yeah.
And then it'd be Osha and then the Stranger, like basically like training themselves, like training each other and becoming
Yeah.
a stronger bond, type
And
of thing.
if this like actually started following the Sith specifically around, I think that would be a very interesting idea, because you
Yes.
don't get a lot of media entirely centered around
Yes.
that aspect of the Force, and I think that conflicted characters are what makes things so interesting. Soul is an idea that I think is great, and some of it's well executed, but this
Yes.
idea of this sort of inner conflict of something.
Do you feel like they just brush past the fact that like, cause he just wanted an apprentice so badly?
I was kind of confused about that,
Right?
because he just like passes her and then trains her.
I don't understand, because then eventually he got an apprentice.
It felt very, and I don't like when I feel like this. It felt like the story needed it to happen.
Yes.
So it happened.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I don't understand why he couldn't have an apprentice type of thing. I don't know. It just didn't make sense. I guess because it just didn't take time to expand on it. They just said like, well, he needed an apprentice and he wanted one so badly.
Yeah.
And so like he was like, well, these children are being like corrupted and everything, so I should take one of them.
But the thing was, he straight up. Well, he's not the entire
yeah.
reason for it, but he straight up killed like a civilization.
Yes.
in order to get, well, just one of them.
Because he said like he felt a connection, like an emotional connection towards Osha. But then I'm like, I didn't really get that. It's just more like you saw something where Osha of course, like Osha was just confused and didn't know what she wanted yet.
It was aggravating because, like you said, so many of the scenes felt like filler, but then all the important shit felt like one beat, and then you're supposed to care.
Yes.
Because, like, the episode 3 felt, it was like an hour long, and then why that was like the longest episode, I don't know. But then they'll be like, I want to be a Jedi. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And then you spent 20 minutes like talking about how they're going to be witches or whatever, and very clearly this, like, so much of it felt just either needed to be trimmed or expanded upon so it could be paced better, because I just felt that way over and over throughout the entire show. And it was weird because I heard that people liked it after the halfway point. I liked it when it started, and then putting a flashback right after setting something up is such a weird move.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just the pacing for sure. Because I guess if the flashback was just in the beginning and you just showcase the twins and everything, and then eventually you'll just showcase like how they separated, and then that's when you start the episode.
No, I was like, isn't the way that they usually do flashbacks like this is they'll show a bit of it like spared out throughout the entire show. So by the end of it, you show that one pivotal thing, and then you go, oh, okay, I get it. But
I do like that whole, cause like having those two perspectives of May and Osha, and how they saw like their whole like world crumble between them, because I did like that aspect, but I think it's just the build up around it.
It didn't even feel executed like it was supposed to be from their two different perspectives, though. It just felt as if it was showing something else that happened, because that guy who shaved his head or whatever happened took a vow of silence.
Oh, Turban? Torben?
I kept thinking, because I think Thorbin is a name from something.
Well.
Again, a cool idea. And then I liked how he...
I like the idea of him just being in silence the entire time and just like floating or levitating the entire time.
And then people try and interrupt him. And
and you can't. That was cool.
I don't know why... Just kill yourself, man.
Damn! Whoa!
Because it doesn't make sense. He took the vow of silence, but he was like, I can't ever recover from what I did. And then he kills himself anyway, because she's like...
Oh, yeah. Wait, but what did he do again?
That guy? I don't... Dude.
Because I'm like, he was just there, but it was really Soul.
No, remember, he was like, I want to go home. And then he's the reason why they didn't go home at first, I guess.
I don't know. Because I'm like, okay, it sounds like... Because at the end... Everything started because of Soul. Yeah. Like, he just reacted and killed the mother witch. Yeah. And that was it. And so I'm like, why did he go in silence? Same thing with the Wookiee, too.
I liked the Wookiee, I guess. He doesn't do anything. No. I don't know how you're supposed to characterize him.
He fought, like, Soul and...
I like that, yeah.
But I was like, that was cool, seeing a Wookiee with a lightsaber live action.
Yeah, which, I mean, if it was in a better thing, I feel like we'd be... more ecstatic about that.
I agree.
But it's so weird because that whole thing, so much of it felt like plot convenience. Like, this needs to happen because we need it to happen. Yes. And so many of the characters act, I can't even say act out of character. They just act like morons because they need the thing to happen.
Yeah, I think it just sucks because when you say like a certain like society is so terrible too, you would think like they'd be smart and not just bad.
No,
at what they're doing.
Aren't the Jedi supposed to be
like so wise? Yeah, and I'm just like, I did not get that.
Like, wise at what?
Because like I get that with like Carrie Ann Moss. Yeah. And like her character.
That's just because Carrie Ann Moss.
Because she had like certain lines against Soul, right? But like every other character, I'm just like, dang, I don't.
Soul acted so out of passion that I got. Sort of, because this is supposed to be prequel era, and one of my issues with some of that is they're too stoic sometimes, but that is their personality. So I got kind of confused as to why they're not like rambling at him about, no, you need to not develop an emotional connection to your Padawan or to anything going on. I was confused because if you're going to set this in that setting but 100 years before, but if Yoda's still around, then obviously they still feel the same. Yeah. So I just thought it was such a weird move, and it's not like I mind them adding all the passion and everything. I just thought that everybody acted so out of... I don't mind when characters act out of impulse or first thought. Yes. I will forever defend the Star-Lord Infinity War thing because that is very in line with...
Oh, it makes sense because you see their like passion and their love grow in over 2 movies. Yeah. And so it makes sense why that would happen. And then even then it just... I feel like it's even stronger now because of Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Because at the end, like, it showcases like he still loves and cares about her, and like the choice that he made.
No, we argue about that all the time
Yeah.
with people because people say it's a dumb move. I'm like, it is, but the
Yes.
thing is, he's not a dumb character.
He's human.
Yeah.
And that's what humans do.
And that's the whole point
Yeah.
of like Guardians 2 is the fact that he can't embrace that because
Yeah.
he is human. So I'm fine with
Mhm.
characters acting out of impulse. It's just that it felt like no one was thinking.
Yeah,
And-
I don't know. It was just certain scenes like that, and then the flashback scenes.
I
What else
never
happened?
talk to the show. You know, some people like react.
To
out,
talk to the
like-
show.
You know how some people react out loud to stuff whenever they're watching it?
Oh yeah.
I involuntarily did it with, I don't remember what, but I just went, dude, come on. Because I was so annoyed.
The amount of times
When-
I would just pause and be like, "Oh, "Damn, I still got this amount of time left."
No,
too.
and no, it was like, this is paced very poorly.
Yeah.
I will say I did rewind at a part I thought was awesome. I rewinded at the lightsaber changing colors because I was like, I gotta see that again. I was like, that's cool as hell. It's weird. There's so much of it that is perfunctory. It's okay.
What?
It's functions fine. Function, yeah.
Why'd you say that to me?
Because I've said that word on here before and you had the same exact reaction. But okay, I want to talk about Dafne Keen
Why? She was in it.
and
She was
Yord.
good. Oh,
Because
well.
no, I felt like these were missed opportunities. I didn't really like these people that much because I thought that the whole replacing an apprentice
Mhm.
thing and her connection with Osha
Mhm.
was so out of left field. And then I like how she dies. Really, legitimately, I do because it
Why? What the heck?
it
That's so-
added because it was really quick and I thought it added a genuine stake to that
Yeah.
particular episode because that was episode 5, I think.
It happened so fast, but I don't even think Soul cared.
Yeah,
That's
no,
where
that's
I'm
why I
like,
was so
dang,
confused because I
right?
was like, did you just not care about
What
the
your
one
pa-
that you
yeah.
replaced? Yeah, you were so passionate about the last one, and like I like that character a lot, but that felt out of character because if
Yes.
you're supposed to develop a care for that, then what's going on?
Yes.
But Yord felt like I was supposed to care about him already when he first
Yeah.
shows up. He's like the first person that sees her, and he's like, "You killed that person," and it made me wonder. I didn't know for a lot of the show until they say it that I was like, does no one understand the concept of twins in this universe? Like, do they not exist? But then I didn't know that she thought she was dead, so I was like, okay,
Okay.
that's my bad. But I also thought that I want to talk about, I brought this up, the
Which one?
structure of shows in Disney.
Oh yeah, you did.
There's something that really bothers me about the formula
Okay.
of Disney Plus shows. And I don't know if you've ever caught on to this.
Which ones?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, except for Andor. But
Oh, okay.
I have an issue with.
He couldn't swim.
I do love Andor. You guys should
Damn.
watch Andor. I'm teary-eyed, man.
Yeah.
But my issue lied in the fact I feel I liked the Percy Jackson show.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah, I saw it.
What'd you think?
I thought it was good.
Damn, I gotta watch it.
I love that series a lot.
Yeah.
And my issues with it are also the same with here. Definitely not as bad.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the formula of
Mm.
things. Or genuinely extends into more of the Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
They have such a habit of making things 8 episodes. And I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue in which they choose to spend that time.
Mm.
They'll have a couple episodes of setting things up. It's a bit slow, but that's fine because that's how it works. And then there's a lot of time dedicated to a flashback of something. I
That
can't.
always happens though.
Yeah, but I don't feel
I feel
like.
like the placement of flashbacks is better, or like that's something that always needs to be like talked about and like where
Yeah.
it needs to be. Because throwing a flashback episode in the middle of your show, I don't think it's ever. If it works, it works. Yes, but I think when it comes to flashback episodes, it should just be in the very beginning. Establish like what you're trying to say in the very beginning, and then it just like connect it somehow later
and
on
get
to
to
the show.
where you're going.
Yeah, just because then I feel like it loses its pace for sure.
What happened with this show?
Yeah.
Like I felt burnt out by the end of it, and it's
Mhm.
not even that long.
Yeah.
But by the time you get to the end of it, I always feel like they feel as if they have to earn their endings.
Mm.
Like the whole thing doesn't happen until the very end, where they feel as if they've become a superhero. I really liked Miss Marvel, but Miss Marvel has way too long flashbacks also dedicated
Oh my gosh.
to the same
I forgot
thing.
about that, yeah.
And then she doesn't feel like she qualifies as a superhero until the very end.
Yeah.
I feel like she doesn't qualify as a Sith until the very end.
Yeah.
And
she wasn't even thinking about being a Sith until like, I think it was like episode 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they'll also throw something so out of left field at the end. And I'm thinking, just because you spent 7 episodes already doesn't mean you built up to it. It just means that you got there and you feel like you can do it now, and I don't agree.
Yeah.
But Loki, I think, does all of that really well. That's season 2 of that shows how you do that stuff. Yeah. I told you my only singular flaw with it is there's too much exposition in that season, but that's it. And there's also
Loki season 1 episode 5.
Watch
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, great movie, really great movie. But also watch our review of that if you have.
That's right.
We have a lot to say.
Guys.
Yeah.
That's right.
But also, any Disney show that I have an issue with has way too long exposition.
What about
way
Secret
too long.
Invasions? Did it have it?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's just whenever you feel like something is all exposition.
Yeah.
I felt like once you start to get to a point where you're like, these characters are just standing and talking about what they're doing and not actually doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I think because a lot of directors, they like to show certain directors, right? Like Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, like he's a visual storyteller.
Yeah, you tell me where the exposition is in Dune 2.
Yeah, and it's just like very rare, and like you can showcase your characters doing something without saying anything.
Yeah,
and like because the audience is smart enough to understand what's happening as well, and like can just imply, especially if the having the actors showcase the characters in like whatever way you need to for the story to continue on.
Yeah,
and so. Yes, I do agree with like having too much exposition can drag things down.
Because you're no longer allowed to give even a good performance. It's just that you have to deliver lines that are information for the audience to understand. But the thing is,
I do like it when like certain directors have like those exposition scenes, but it's like masked by something happening.
Yeah.
Like a certain sequence or something.
No, people always talk about the whole idea that exposition, the way it needs to happen, is by characters explaining stuff while they're doing that thing or they're doing something else.
Yes.
To try and get that information out immediately.
Because I remember when I was watching a review of Chris Duckman.
Oh,
when he was
talking
about Star Trek. Yeah. I love like that example right there alone. I'm like, that's a great scene.
That whole bouncing back and forth, and I mean that's crediting it's hard to credit the guys who made like Amazing Spider-Man 2 because they run into that issue again later with that in Into Darkness where they feel like they over explain everything or anything like that. But that's what separates exposition from, let's look at Suicide Squad and
the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. The first half of the first one is all set up.
Yes,
you know how the exposition happens in the second one? They just show what happens. And then they cut and they're like, that went wrong. and then it goes to that flashback where they're like, you do this and you do this and you get less time. Here you go. And then that's like incredible. That's a great explanation.
Or it's like they explain it right after like everything happened.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they don't even have to explain it that much because the audience saw what just happened and they can just form like their own ideas of it.
What show is the master at visual exposition?
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Dude,
yes. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because you'll go full episodes.
You and I?
No,
you and I.
We're same. We'll go like full episodes being like, what's going on? And then,
what's going on? Better Call Saul.
And then my mom's like, I don't get it. There's like,
I don't understand. Why is it black and white?
No, that part. See, no, even that. That's so well done. That's so well communicated.
Yes.
Because you'll be like, because all of the color's out of his life. Because he's sad. And then he sees the commercials and there's color because it reminds him of when he was happier, even though his life was messier. That's like brilliant. It makes so much sense.
Dude, that episode was so good.
Which one?
The episode you just talked about where he saw a commercial.
Oh yeah.
And it was like
it's
all
like
in color.
flashing on his face.
Yes.
It's incredible. I love that show so much.
Wow,
but
I gotta watch that show again.
I thought about starting it over. I got like halfway through season 1 and then I forgot what I was doing.
Okay.
And I had to do something else.
Dang.
But I did want to say the thing that I feel like is missing with these characters is I felt like I was supposed to know them all already.
Yeah. I feel like I'm supposed to know them like during the present. And so anytime they flash back, even then they didn't really tell us who they were. And
No. So whenever Yord shows up, he's like,
Yeah.
"What's up?" I'm like, I don't.
Who
Who are you?
It's like, okay, you seem cool. You seem
Yeah.
right. Like, I don't understand. But not even, not Yord, but with the other Jedis too. Like the Wookiee and like
Oh
Turbin, Thubbin or whatever.
Torben.
Whatever that guy is. And so it's just when their deaths happen,
Yeah.
it's just so like nothing.
No, that whole the flashback again. Whenever it shows them walking around, I'm like, who the fuck? Like, who are you?
Yes,
And I'm not. I want to get to know new characters. I want to know and care for these people because you're telling me to.
Yes.
So I'd like to be able to latch onto something to get to know them. Osha and May, I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yes.
That's such a cool idea for the Jedi and the Sith to be twins, or I guess they're not sisters or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And they're born out of the Force, which cool ideas all around, I think. It's just they state stuff where I think, could you just execute this better? I just felt like that over and over. But
Yoda at the end?
Yoda, I did. Enjoy.
Yoda, I did.
I did Yoda.
Whoa.
I was just like, yeah. I have one last detail here
All right,
before we wrap up. I don't know if you have anything else.
No.
I thought that the whole idea of George Lucas and his inspiration behind Kurosawa films, like Rashomon and The Last Jedi, which is a movie I like, I'm sorry, but where it even shows Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker and the Master and the Apprentice and the two different perspectives. Even in that, they do that plot point.
Yes.
Where it's inspired by Rashomon the same way that the original Star Wars is inspired by, I believe, the Iron Fortress and the what's it called, Seven Samurai. But with this, the other thing I liked is that they tried to honor that again by doing the flashback thing, by trying to piece together two different details. But I think the thing that they were missing is they forgot to explain, like we said earlier, that those were two different perspectives.
Yeah.
So it was just this like I'm going to repeat myself again. It just felt like it was a cool idea and it was not executed that well.
It just sucks because, like, it's what you said. Like, the ideas were there, and it just felt very flat.
Yeah.
With a lot of the show.
I came away with this thinking that actually I want to ask you. Do you have any overall? Do you have anything else that you'd like to touch on?
I don't think so. I think I got everything I needed to say. Yeah.
So overall, we're not gonna actually. I don't even know this is gonna get a season 2. You want to grade it?
Yeah, we can grade it.
Okay. Overall, what were your thoughts? Did you?
Overall, I like I said in the beginning, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
But I just think the things that I really like enjoyed or like loved really stood out to me, and I don't know if because of everything else felt so lackluster.
Yeah.
And so I would give this honestly a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Just a straight like it's okay.
Yeah.
Because like don't get me wrong, because there's certain scenes where I definitely will look back and I'm like, I kind of want to watch that again.
I am a Star Wars completionist. I do need to finish Clone Wars, admittedly,
Yes, I need to finish Clone Wars.
And Rebels, but
I don't know about Rebels.
I've heard it's good.
Okay,
But
we'll
the
see.
thing is, out of all like the live action shows, I think that this is on par with Ahsoka.
I still haven't seen Ahsoka.
I got the same exact feelings watching that as I did this. It was a lot of that's cool. Or who are you? And I understand that some people are like, you need to see Rebels. I'm like, I'm sorry, but like
you need to read all the
legends. But you know the issue with Ahsoka? They tell you who they are over and over.
I am Ahsoka.
No, you don't need to see Rebels because everybody's repeating their character arcs from Rebels over and over. I don't think you need to have seen that.
I don't think when it comes to TV shows and movies, when they release something else, having the notion of you need to watch this before you watch this, I understand. Like, it's great. Yeah. But somehow or some way, you need to still make your film entertaining enough.
That people... No, sometimes... I think people forget that there's an art to that. That sometimes people find a franchise by like entering into the third one.
Yes.
And but instead of going, I'm confused, they go, this is so cool. I want to see how they got to this point in the first place.
And so there's no need to have that like to be like, I need, like, you need to watch all this and all that to understand this point. And I'm like, no, like, I just need to go in to this movie, and just the movie itself can be entertaining without knowing so much, like, previous knowledge. Yeah. And
Star Wars at this point is so inaccessible. Sometimes people say that they're not going to get into Star Wars. I don't push for them to get into it. I don't, because I get why no one wants to anymore.
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff. I would just say, I mean, you always have the originals. The prequels are even inaccessible to some people because they're hard to get through for some people.
Yes.
And then after that, you're like, well, then I can't tell you to watch Rogue One or anything like that.
Dude,
because
it's like, let's convince them to watch Solo.
Yeah, who's gonna? I'm sure. I bet there's someone out there that had no idea, and they were like, "This is cool."
Not bad, not bad.
But I'm also happy that maybe someone saw this and they loved it, and it's their first introduction thing to Star Wars. I will like be grateful for that, even though I felt as if I would have no idea who any of these people were, and it's not like they're in anything else.
Yeah.
Except for the 2 seconds of Yoda.
True. I don't know, like I guess we talked about it too, where it's like if we got to see another season of this, I would hope they just hone in more and focus on the twins and more of their relationship, because it's just very brief.
Either make it longer or focus on something. Just focus on something.
One thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Make Manny Jacinto your main character.
Yeah. And then we just follow his relationship with his Padawan.
Yeah.
The entire time. Or like, not Padawan, apprentice.
I thought he was the best part of this. Like, by far. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It, like, for me, it was the same as you. It went him and then Soul. And then Osha for me.
Okay.
But I didn't... What was her name? Vanessa was fine. I liked the whip saber thing. That was cool.
That was only one time.
Yeah, and then
like they kind of hinted at the fact that she may have like whipped like her Padawan.
I had no idea. I don't know.
I was like, what? Because like you see the scars on his back and everything, and I'm like, is that from her?
Oh, he said it was a long time ago. Yeah,
and I'm like, and that's where I'm like, they hint things like that. I'm like, that seems interesting.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that's ever gonna be brought up.
No, because you'd be like, oh, cool, like a flaw with this person, and then she makes these faces like you, and then he just like bounces and
bounce.
Because the scene they did that thing that movies and shows do, where she like looks up and then he's like looking down and he's there, and then she looks up and he's gone.
Oh yeah, classic.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue.
He's right
with
behind me, isn't he?
One of the best ones ever is Spider-Man 3, because it implies that he ducked under the table to get that done. But overall, I thought it was okay. I didn't.
What would you rate it?
Away, I didn't.
Whoa!
I didn't come away with it thinking anything too poorly about it, except for like 2 of the episodes. But those were so weak that it. Even if this was a 3.5, that I
thought it was 6 episodes, not 8. I'm not gonna lie.
I can imagine you finishing this and be like, "Damn, there's more."
There's more.
But I felt that with Ahsoka, and then I was like, "There's more." I had that happen. But I didn't think it was a slog. I just thought it was way too slow paced, because it destroys itself as it goes. And if they would have just put those, I'm imagining myself thinking that if the flashbacks weren't their own episodes, I would like have come away with this more positively. Honestly,
yeah. I think if they just like talked about it more so, instead of just showing us the flashback episodes and saying like what happened.
To be fair, it's about showing, not saying, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just hard.
It's hard when it's not executed that well. But overall, I thought it was okay. I thought there was a lot to not like about it, but I thought that there were some really, really strong things that I loved.
Luckily, it's only 8 episodes.
It is only 8 episodes, and if you're interested, I would say watch it.
I say if you think that you're a dark side type of person, I think you should watch this show. Yeah. Because then you'll love Manny Jacinto.
That's true. I did. You come away with this thinking he's the best part of it.
Yeah, like I would definitely want to get like a pop figure of him.
That helmet.
Yes, it looks amazing.
I thought there was one major missed opportunity. I'm just saying. I thought when he took off his helmet, he was going to fight with the saber, because that would be cool. And then they stopped him, and I got upset because I thought that because of how he cuts it. I thought that was really cool. overall, it was all right. Same score, honestly, 3 out of 5. With the addition, I would like another season if they could just fix everything.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of potential still to be had.
We just know the action, great.
The action is great.
Yes.
Expand on that and expand on why we should care about those things happening initially in the first place. I did notice, don't lie to me if this show's unpopular. It's top 4 trending on IMDb. You people are watching it.
Damn, what's insane?
But overall, it was all right. That's what we thought.
It was like,
And we want to know what you thought of it. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are they somewhere in between?
yes, there you go.
Are they somewhere between?
All right. I was waiting for it.
We were somewhere between.
Yeah, we were.
This is the first time we were somewhere between on something. Wow, good for us. And
dude, we got the same score.
yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you could, please
like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. And we will have an episode for you up next of another TV show. It's going to be really late, but The Boys season 4. I am excited. I got to make sure I get that done because I want to get that to you guys.
Actually, I'm excited
Anyway.
about to talk about The Boys.
You're going to write notes?
Yeah.
Cool.
More so because I want to talk about the other seasons because I don't think we talked about it before.
We've reviewed season 3.
We have?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I mean, I wouldn't mind us talking about the other seasons too.
Okay. If you haven't, in the meantime, watch our review of season 3. It's on, actually listen to it. It's on Spotify and Apple.
Oh, nice.
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We will see you next time.